Hello everyone and welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Diana for those of you who are new here, and I like to make lifestyle videos based on my experience throughout my high school, college, and currently adult life. So if you're interested in those kind of videos, go ahead and click that subscribe button and let's get started. So today, let's jump right into it. As you saw at the beginning of this video, I actually did my version of the that girl trend, and that's how it came out. And I wanted to give my 2 cents about it because, again, this is a trend that I feel like I relate to, and I feel like I also promote in a sense. I didn't know it had a name because I'm usually late to trends. So the creation of this video actually ended up starting with me having one specific question, and that is, will the enjoyment of my routine decrease if I'm trying to make it aesthetically pleasing for the enjoyment of other people? So of course I wanted to take the scientific method way, and I had a question, I had a hypothesis, which my theory was yes, it will decrease because I'm focusing on the enjoyment of others rather than myself. Then I collected the data and I got the answer, and guess what the answer was? I was correct. Yes, the enjoyment of my morning routines decreased drastically because I was so focused on getting the correct angles. I was so focused on getting the perfect lighting, on making sure that my background was aesthetically pleasing, making sure that I was recording every single moment, and it took away from the enjoyment of my normal morning routine, which is exactly what you see there. And it's not just my morning routine. I actually try to do the whole day, and I only went up to like right before dinner just because I was so tired of filming at that point. I'm like, no, I can't do this thing for the whole day. That was basically what I collected from this video, is that yes, I am that type of person who does do these things almost on a daily. Of course, I have my bad days. My routine changes every now and then, so it's not always like this, but it is something I try to keep up for myself to make sure that I'm taking care of myself in the process of like my day-to-day life. But yeah, I felt that when I was focusing on trying to make the video as aesthetically pleasing as possible, it was very time consuming compared to my other videos where I just do it with like my own style. It's just, what I can put out and what I'm willing to put out of my life to share with others, to motivate others. Another thing, like I mentioned, I felt like I was obligated to get the perfect shot. The amount of times I had to move my camera in order to do like my skincare routine, that was so hard. It was so hard to get the angle. I never do my skincare routine in the living room. It's always in the bathroom, but my bathroom is not like aesthetically pleasing. My bathroom is just a very regular basic bathroom. So I feel like if I would have done it in the bathroom and just done my usual routine there, it would have saved me so much more time. I would have felt much better about my skincare routine. And my final output of this experiment was that the enjoyment of my usual routine was definitely lacking at that point because I was more focused on making sure it was visually pleasing for others, and that included moments that I usually take time to myself. So definitely would not want to do it that specific way again. I don't mind vlogging my days and my routines when it's just like the way I normally do it, where it doesn't take me so much time, but doing it in this specific aesthetic way that this trend is showing, I definitely don't want to do that again. I feel like my overall thoughts is that this trend is portraying healthy values and like healthy lifestyles. However, that positive aspect of this trend shifts when your focus changes to pleasing others rather than making sure you're enjoying it yourself. I definitely can see how this can promote unhealthy expectations when it's taken to the extreme, which is kind of what I did again for the purpose of this experiment. Never again am I going to do that. So another negative aspect that people point out with this trend is the type of videos that the algorithm is promoting. So aside from over glamorizing the idea of perfectionism in your day-to-day life, the portrayal on the media that's constantly being promoted has a specific demographic, which tends to be white, petite, and privileged. And I want to say it also is very much targeted towards girls because a lot of these videos that are being promoted are female identifying people. However, I know that there's other videos out there that other people have made that don't identify as female, and that's putting it in a very binary point of view as well. I don't necessarily believe that it's trend's fault itself that it's portraying all these specific people, I believe that this falls more onto media at this point. The algorithm on social media is constantly promoting people who fall into these categories. So this is why we see so many of these white, small, petite girls. It falls into what the algorithm thinks that we like to see, what we like to consume, which on its own is a whole different topic of like beauty standards and colorism and all that stuff. I've noticed that in order to get different videos, you have to have specific keywords when you're searching for these videos, like BIPOC, Black, Latina, LGBTQ, all these marginalized groups. So you have to specifically use these words for you to see a little bit more variety. So yeah, unfortunately, because of that, this trend seems to only promote white, privileged, petite girls. As to talking to the part of privilege, I definitely feel like this trend, just like many other trends, do come with a certain amount of privilege. I feel like that's something that I try to do my best in acknowledging, but sometimes even myself, I do a really bad job at acknowledging like my own privilege. So yes, this kind of routine, this kind of self-care, self-love does come with a certain amount of privilege that people do have to eventually acknowledge. Not everyone can do this. Eating healthy, eating clean isn't always accessible to everyone. Being able to work out on a daily isn't always accessible to everyone. Being able to go out for walks isn't always accessible for everyone. So that is something I do want to acknowledge. With that said, I feel like you don't necessarily need to be rich to be able to take care of yourself. I know that, however, there are different ways to be able to take care of yourself and, you know, take care of your health without having to spend too much money either. Another part of this whole idea of having privilege is being able to have the time and not a lot of responsibilities to be able to do this, which not a lot of people have. So now I feel like I touched on like the negative aspects of it. I know that there's a lot more, but I also don't want to discredit the people who make these kind of videos. I personally don't believe that they are trying to promote unhealthy expectations and standards. Again, this is their job. They are trying to just motivate you and give you some type of entertainment along with motivation. Again, I don't want to discredit these people, so that's why I wanted to leave this video on a good note and give you some tips and advice on how to implement, you know, being the best version of yourself, which is what this trend is trying to promote. So one of the first things I do want to say is when setting up a routine, it is important to implement 1 or 2 habits at a time instead of multiple different habits at once. And the reason why I say this is because it can get very overwhelming, and in a way your focus is split up into so many different activities and habits that you might not be giving it your full attention and your full dedication to it for it to become a habit. It's hard to build habits, just how it's hard to break habits. So implementing 1 to 2 at a time can help you slowly build up to your morning routine. So like I mentioned, the that girl trend is meant to be the best version of yourself. It's supposed to glamorize your life. It's supposed to make you feel good about yourself. So make sure it is about yourself. It isn't about others. It isn't about following this exact video to the T. So make sure that when you are implementing these new habits, it's to improve your own life and your own lifestyle. While my lifestyle right now is currently, you know, a full-time employee working from home, this routine might not work for people who don't work from home, for people who are students, for people who don't have a set schedule. So again, make sure that you're doing it for your enjoyment, for your own lifestyle and your own life. Another tip is kind of like playing on from what I just mentioned earlier, is focusing on how these habits make you feel. These habits are supposed to make you feel good about yourself. They're supposed to make you feel good about your own life, about your own improvements. Doing like home workouts is not your thing. To stay active, don't do home workouts. I do read. I love reading. I've loved reading since I was in middle school. However, the books that I read tend to vary. Sometimes I'll read self-help books, sometimes like non-fiction books, but I love fiction. What you didn't know at the time of me filming was that I showed you what, you know, is expected of me. But in reality, in my actual routine, I read from my iPad, and I've been reading like these kind of books. They're like fictional books, and it's okay. It's whatever makes you feel good. And for me, sometimes after reading a like self-help book or a book where you have to critically analyze everything, I just need a break. My brain just needs a break, and engaging in a fictional novel is a break for me. So again, do what makes you feel good. You don't have to read. That's just one example. And then my last tip for this is to avoid putting your routines on social media. Posting everything on social media, posting your whole life on social media can be exhausting, and that's when sometimes your mindset can shift from enjoyment for yourself to enjoyment for others. If you are posting on social media, just be careful. Know that anything you post on social media is basically free for criticism, and that can also harm you instead of like help you. Another thing about social media is that you have to remember that it is curated to show the best highlights of a person's life. So don't compare yourself to what you see on social media. That's all I have to say. And if you like this video, go ahead and please give it a thumbs up. If you haven't done so already, go ahead and subscribe and click that notification button so you can get notified of when I upload, because I upload randomly now. So yeah, thank you all for watching. Have a beautiful day, and I will see you all next time. Bye bye.